I just walked out of watching one of my favorite video game to movie adaptations, and no, this isn't me rewatching Minecraft or Super Mario or Sonic as well. Not even talking about the hit 1995 movie Mortal Kombat. No, we're not talking about the peak soundtrack or the awesome visual effects, nor am I talking about Resident Evil or any of the House of the Dead movies as well. Surely we're not talking about the 2006 video game supernatural movie Stay Alive, which I also covered before, shameless plug. I'm sure by the title now you know that I had just walked out of seeing Until Dawn, and as someone that has never played the games besides The Quarry and basically kind of having the same understanding of what we're getting into this movie, I walked out very satisfied and I really enjoyed the movie. This movie has so many layers, and I know people could just start peeling them back so easily. And what it was, it just looks like it was just a simple cabin in the woods supernatural horror movie. To me, as someone that has enjoyed the director and enjoys video game adaptation movies, this was done very, very well. And listen, I'm very biased of horror movies, and I've watched countless rip-offs and just bad horror movies in general, but overall I enjoy what I enjoy, and at this point everybody could have their own opinion on this. This may not seem like it's the next Friday the 13th franchise or a Conjuring or whatever you're wanting to put into this, where this movie fits into that criteria. It won't blow everybody's mind. It's not going to be life-changing. It's just a good movie. As you can see, what I will talk about in this video, I'll explain what I enjoyed about this movie and why I believe you should just give it a chance at least, and not just discard it onto just another shameless, self-aware supernatural horror movie, like as the trailers would make it seem if you unknowingly walked in not even knowing this was based off a video game until you see one of the credits after Sony be PlayStation Studios. Yep, front and center, PlayStation Studios as well. So shout out them as well. And hey, don't knock them until you delved into Sony. I grew up with both Sony and Microsoft. Sony has definitely proven time after time with their developers and their studios that they can definitely craft a good story. So let's start from the beginning. I sort of trailed off there, but in all seriousness, Supermassive Games, shout out to them. They made such games besides Until Dawn, such as The Quarry, Little Nightmares 2, which are both fantastic games that you definitely should play. There's more to the company, but I just want to give them a quick shout out as well. I definitely have been a fan of their games. You have probably played one of their games as well. So shout out to them for having such a great product up on the screen. Not a lot of video game movies could do that, but I honestly could say this definitely is among the top with Sonic, Minecraft. Do I dare say Super Mario Brothers and Mortal Kombat as well? Because it's up there. If y'all are enjoying the video so far, make sure to subscribe if you can. It is free. It helps support the channel. Make sure to leave a comment, share the video around, and most importantly, leave a like. Thank you very much. Back to the video. So this is under Screen Gems. You might have heard of them. They're an American film production company that's owned by Sony. They put out horror movies such as Slenderman, Underworld, Blood Wars, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, Quarantine, The Zombie Outbreak, the one that I mentioned in my last video, another shameless plug, and also the classic movie Carrie. Ooh, and Brightburn. I actually like Brightburn. Go watch Brightburn. I'll talk about that sometime. And on the helm of directing, we have David F. Sandberg, who is a Swedish filmmaker, also a fellow YouTuber who you might have seen his short film Lights Out that became a movie later, Lights Out. Then he went on to helm Shazam, awesome movie, and Shazam! Fury of the Gods as well too. It's good to see him return to his horror roots because he did such a good job on Annabelle Creation as well. I gotta say, it's probably one of the best Annabelle movies out of all of them, out of the bunch. Same with the first Shazam movie. Second one was very entertaining, I'll give it that, but I would prefer the heart and tone of the first one overall. I was able to watch some of his YouTube videos on the practical effects that he did on Until Dawn, and it's good to see him as a filmmaker in Hollywood still upload on YouTube like that, because it's just a little stuff like that of going behind the scenes. He had a whole demonstration that he did on Blender for this one particular scene. He had a bunch of one of his studios that he's worked with on the past couple movies do some practical effects as well too. So looking into all that stuff, it goes to show that he really loves horror. I really admire his work that he's done, and it shows especially on Until Dawn. So already enough myself wanting to see this movie and knowing about the game, but not really playing it, but watching somebody else play it years ago, I was sort of excited about it because I was understanding this would be, in a sense, of a Cabin in the Woods movie type-esque. And I'm talking about the 2012 Cabin in the Woods movie. If you haven't seen that one, it's pretty meta. I'll keep it nice and short, but there's a lot going on in that movie. Essentially, it was going to become a Left 4 Dead movie, but that got scrapped. But there is some little mention of it, I'm sure, by the now time. If you are a fan of both horror movies and Left 4 Dead, you pretty much would make the connection already or have seen what I'm talking about. So time looping, essentially. So think of Groundhog Day. Think of recently movie that I would think about would be Happy Death Day, which a lot of people would say this is just a copy and paste, and they're not wrong. But in the sense, it's just let everybody have what they want. The beauty of horror, the beauty of this genre is that everybody has a space to create and acknowledge, basically send a love letter to everything in the genre, horror-wise. Like, we could have as many killer clowns, we could have as many slashers, we could have as many paranormal ghosts and entities. Nobody's angry at Art the Clown. Pennywise set the bar, and Art the Clown just devoured it at that point. No pun intended. But at this point, it's like Killer Clowns from Outer Space as well too is still its own thing. There's probably reports recently about some traction about a sequel or maybe a TV show coming up. Even more exciting, nobody's complaining about that. We have a bunch of different media that could be interpreted into its own thing. So it's just like, let it be its own thing with Until Dawn. It's based off the video game. You understand what the concept is. Sure, it's like, oh my god, they took Groundhog Day and they made it with a bunch of slashers and everything in the horror book. Oh my god. It's like, yeah, if to you it may sound like a boring premise like that, but once you see the execution of it and once you see it, you're just like, oh man, this is actually really good. I wonder how this will happen. Or I could not imagine myself in a situation like that. I would probably fumble at that point. Listen, at this point, there's so much going on in the movie and not much going on, and a lot of people would say it's very repetitive, and at that point, it's like, well, what did you expect with when the time aspect was introduced at that point? I love how it just kept you on your feet for the most part, and there was about 2 or 3 times it had me jumped out of my seat for a second. There was about maybe 10, 12 people in the audience, most couples, which was cool. I really enjoyed myself. I had a fire, cherry coke, and some popcorn. I was enjoying the whole time. And going back to what I was saying about the practical effects overall in this movie, it is a lot heavy, and it's not one of those like quick, cheesy pulls that they just tend to swap out the head last minute. Yeah, it is, but in the sense of just, wow, that was done very well, or this was like a cut that I never realized, and it was all just true practical DIY effects. And that's the thing I love about this industry, is the fact that it never tends to lose its roots with that, you know? Going back to practical effects, you think about Evil Dead, you think about Psycho, you think about using chocolate as basically blood, since it's just shot in black and white and it'll just come out as blood instead of chocolate, is what Alfred Hitchcock was intended to in Psycho. Same with Sam Raimi on the set of Evil Dead, just managing to go through with this sort of stuff. It goes to show that David F. Sandberg really gives a damn about horror movies and his films, especially with the high budget of this as well. Not sure how much the budget was, but the practical effects really do go hand in hand with this movie as well, and that's just something that could have easily been done with CGI, could have been easily patched up, could have been like not give a damn, or the studio wouldn't budge for it, or any of those reasons, whatever it may be. It showed that he really did take the time to craft into this movie, this universe, basically give it a more realistic feeling of it. The story too, it basically just follows these group of 5 friends going to find someone's missing sister that has gone missing, and they're basically just retracing their steps, trying to get some sort of closure to the point where they end up where they shouldn't have, and are basically stuck in this time loop trying to survive the night. Or in this case, one of my favorite tropes of movies and film is saying the name of the movie in the movie. They have to survive until dawn. Roll credits. But in all honesty, I would definitely rewatch this movie again, and I would enjoy. This is one of those movies you would add to the list of other movies you'd be watching for marathon. So in a sense, you'd probably be watching Happy Death Day, Freaky, Until Dawn, In the Cabin in the Woods, Cabin Fever, putting it in that sort of category. I really enjoyed it very much. This practical effects, I can't get enough of. The story was nice, quick, and just got to the point. You understood the story. You just felt like there's so much history with that town, lore-wise within the game. I'm sure I'm not going to spoil basically the ending of the movie, but it's just a nod to the video game, and from what I remember, it gets good. It gets really good, and it just basically left itself for an open sequel if they choose to, which I hope they do of some sort, because this universe could be expanded into a lot more. I just said I had a blast watching this whole movie the whole time. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what David F. Sandberg does next. I hope he probably considers going to Neon maybe to do a movie, or A24 at that point. Possibilities are endless, but I really do hope he gets his time to shine again in the horror industry, because this man knows what's up. Thank you so much for everything you've done. I've been watching the Lights Out short for years until the movie came out, and had a whole poster in my room, and got to go see it at an advanced screening for free. I gave the studio all the feedback, and unknowingly too, when I go visit California, I exactly know where the house was filmed and shot at, since I am familiar with the area. So knowing that enough too just made it more enjoyable to watch the movie anytime. But seriously though, go give a shot to Until Dawn. Give it a watch. Like I said, consider watching the other movies I mentioned too. Cabin in the Woods, Freaky, Happy Death Day. It's all good. And like I said, it could all live in its own separate little universe, its own category. The beauty of it is that there's so much of it. Just think of it as so much variety. This may not be your cup of tea, but this may be somebody else's cup of tea. You may find this movie bad. You may find this movie good. Overall, seriously though, I enjoyed it, so give it a shot. I love horror movies, and if you love horror movies, music, video games, any of that sort of media, consider subscribing today. Till then, I'll see y'all on Letterboxd. I'm out of here. Click on another video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Go consider watching Until Dawn. I'm out of here. Till then, this is Gribbs138 signing off. Adios.